Hey, it's Adam, Avalon Auto, Alpharetta, Georgia. Next up is a 2007 Lexus LX470. Still has a few small stops to make and a couple more little things we're waiting on, like front center caps. But it's a 07 LX470. Last year the LXs, or LX470s rather, last year the 100 series. 233,000 well-maintained miles on it. We did have to catch up some service, and then of course do some upgrades while we were at it. So this already had an old man emu lift on it, probably about a 2.5 inch, 2 to 2.5 inch lift, I'd say. And it's been on for a while, but it rides great. It had some ugly fuel wheels, wasn't a fan of them. Some hella worn Nittos on there, so we upgraded to the Icon Rebound Pros. So these are the pin locks, so kind of like a bead lock. Great wheels. The Recon Grappler ATs, which I really like the look of, and they ride good. Exterior on this thing's nice. No dents or dings. We've already had PDR go over it. It's been through a basic detail, but not our big paint correction expensive detail. And I've already racked up over $8,000 in expenses on this thing. We did replace OEM front CV axles with OEM seals. We added the Freedom Off-Road upper control arms because this had the stock ones. And with the lift kit, it should have some upper control arms built for 2 to 4 inches of lift. TKO Fabrication did the sliders as well. It's an old windshield wiper. We did just replace the windshield wipers also. Interior's been a good bit of a project as well. So both front seats fully recovered with the armrests. Replaced the steering wheel. Recovered the tops of the door panels. And both of these had little cracks in them. Passenger side was worse than the driver's side. Sorry, I've got my list. This thing had like a straight pipe cat back on it when we got it. Sounded pretty damn gnarly, to be honest, but too much. So we replaced with an OEM exhaust takeoff that we had in stock. Let's see, OEM 84-month battery, hood struts, extra key. One of the keys was cracked, so we did the AGAT design cases, the Icon Rebound Pros. Let's see, lug nuts, both front door speakers we replaced with Scar 8 ohm 6.5s. Synthetic oil change, PDR. I'm guessing this was a dad's truck that gave it to his high school kid when he started driving, because it just had that feeling of it. But I feel like I've done a good job restoring this thing. Service-wise, it's been taken care of pretty well. No real valve cover leaks. Timing is within range. I want to say this timing belt's got about 45,000 miles on it or so. I think it was done around 189, and so you got 60 or so left. Back seats, we'll probably have our interior guy re-dye when he's out next. They're used, they're clean, but they're used, and there's a small tear here that he'll patch when he does that. I'm gonna call Lexus, see if they've got the knobs for these rear controls. And then these feet on these LXs for the chairs are a pain in the butt, but I'll get them back on. Tail lights have like a spray tint on them. I kind of like it, so I'm gonna leave it alone because it's not too dark to where it blacks them out. I need to clean the spring on here. Looks like dog hair is built up. Do have some extra lug nuts. We are waiting. TKO Fab's got a Tundra spare. This thing didn't have a spare, but I'm going to put a spare from a Tundra in here. And then we did diff fluid changes, so that's a little wet. I guess they spilled. I also want to check that breather valve. But, black trucks. It's got a little bit of clear coat fade on these trim pieces, which is common on these. Decent amount of like surface scratching. Good amount of rock chips that we've touched up. The headlights, very impressed with. The grille we swapped out for one we had in stock. But good amounts of, little environmental damage, tree sap, hard water stains. It could use a paint correction, but the hood's got so many chips, and we could either wrap it or paint it. But again, over $8,000 already invested, so I'm trying to hold up. But beautiful truck, rides great. WeatherTech trim to fits. Once we get that spare in, we'll resolve that TPMS light. Sound sounds good now that the door speakers have been replaced. You could probably get this restored too if you really want it done. I've had it done before. But anyway, Adam with Avalon Auto. 07 LX470. 233,000 miles, all up to date and restored.